Hey everybody, this is one of my cage traps that I made. It's for it's for raccoon, possum, and skunk, and it's 1 foot this way and about 2.5 feet this way, so it's the right dimension for them. So yeah, the other part that I have to it is the trap door and the trigger stick. And the trap door slides up and down at the front of the trap. The trigger stick's what triggers the trap, and I'm gonna put bait on it, probably fish or some kind of meat. And I have a little notch on it, so it just notched in like that. And then the raccoon or skunk will come over through here and they'll work the trap from the back, and it won't trigger it. It won't be able to put its head through it, and it'll just try to like maybe pull on it, but it won't do anything because the notch is on this side. So it'll have to work around to the front of the trap, and yeah, it'll go in through there. It'll either try to pull on it or bite it, and once it does that, the notch goes out of place and the door shuts and you have an animal in your trap. This is designed for fox and coyote. That's what I'm going to be trying to trap. And all this material I found on hand. I found this dog crate on the side of the road, and I took it home with me. This is just a spring. It connects the door right here, and it springs it shut. It's pretty freaking heavy and powerful. And so I have a wire right here. It's connected to this grill, which is what the coyote and fox will walk on. And the wire goes over here, and it's connected right on the stick. So once that pushes down, this pulls up. So yeah, and I'm just gonna put a dead animal, like a dead possum or something, back here. And that's what they like. They're going through here. I'll just demonstrate it. They'll walk in like this, and then they'll try to get to the bait. It's back here. Step on the pedal. Slams it shut, and then yeah, there's no way anything can get out of it. If it pushes its head, like, it's too powerful for it to squeeze out of this, but since I'm a human, I can just open it like this. It's kind of dangerous. I've stubbed my thumb in there so many times with this, but yeah, it's pretty sensitive. Just throw a stick in there to show you how sensitive it is. And like that. Hopefully it'll work. Who knows? This is what I've been working on before my 50-day trip. 5 that can catch animals around the size of raccoon or smaller. I have 1 that's a little bit smaller that I already caught a possum in. I let him go, but I know that it works, so that's good. And these 2 are 2 dog crates. One of them was my dog's old crate, and then this one I found. And yeah, all salvage material, all wood that I found near dumpsters or around the house. So this is one thing that I've been working on. I still have to build a stove, which I'm not really sure about. I might build it out of this, or I might use natural materials. And then one other thing that I've been doing before I'm gonna go out there is I'm gonna be sleeping in this tent. I've already started sleeping in it. It's Thanksgiving break right now, and I just want to get my body a little bit like used to the cold, so that it won't be such a dramatic change when I go out there. Just one more shot of the back. And each of these wooden traps probably took like an hour to 2 hours. This one, the metal traps, took a bit longer. About like 3 to 4 hours or so. I'm approaching my shelter right now. It's made pretty much just out of dead logs and sticks that I found out around here. The roof is made out of tree bark that I gathered from fallen trees, and you would think by looking at all of this bark that
this shelter would be waterproof, but I found out on the second and third day that it's not. And so everything inside of here is pretty much wet. And on the first day, I set fire to my shelter accidentally. This wood stove got way too hot, and the leaves around it just got caught up in flames, and it spread. So I just had to pour water all over it. But right now, I have some mud around it to prevent that from happening again. I also dug a trench around the perimeter of my shelter to prevent my shelter from getting flooded out. And right now, this is where I'm sleeping. It's just a pile of leaves and a really dirty tarp. But I'm trying to keep my body off the ground because in the night the ground gets really cold and body heat escapes through that. So I'm elevated up a little bit. I have some sticks under me too. And I have the wood stove going. So it's working out pretty nicely. I have rocks on the top of it so I can cook my meat on there. And yeah, it's kind of rusty, so I wouldn't trust just cooking my meat just on this. But I'm trying to keep this fire going throughout the whole day today. I'm on day 5. Haven't caught anything in my traps, haven't seen any animals except for a couple of squirrels. But I'm trying to keep optimistic. I'll take you around the back. So yeah, dug this trench. No water is getting in from underneath. I have walls pretty much on all sides except for the doorway entrance. And before my senior project, I dug these 2 holes to act as root cellar so I can store my meat. Ooh, the wind's picking up right now. And last but not least, the outhouse. This is the crapper. It's just a ditch that I dug, and part of living without the modern comforts of civilization is using moss for toilet paper. It gets kind of uncomfortable sometimes, but when I'm squatting down in the morning, I get to have this beautiful view, so it makes everything worth it. In these past 11 days, I've had 2 major storms. I've set my traps all along this bank here and down the creek a ways, and 2 of my traps have been flooded out from the storm. I didn't realize how far up the water level would get, and that's a drag. I've been out in the forest for 11 days now, and it's just been pouring down rain for the last 3 days. This is what my shelter has become. It's pretty much become just a shelter with a bunch of tarps all around it, because this last week I've just been mostly in my shelter getting rained on, and I realize that the cold is coming and I need so much more than just 1 canvas tarp. I need to keep my wood dry, and I need to keep everything in here needs to be dry, or else I could get really sick out here. I sharpened some of these stakes to stake this down so the wind doesn't pick up these tarps and blow it around too much. And I haven't had any success with trapping because of all the rain. All the animals are burrowed down, keeping dry. And so now I have a small amount of time to set some traps before it starts raining again. So I'm gonna set some.
Alright, there's a break in the weather and the rain stopped, and it gives me a chance to set up all my traps. So this next trap that I'm going to show you is called a twig shut snare trap. And I picked this location because there's a game trail going through this way along the creek. And this tree branch will be the twig shut part, and the noose will be down here. Once it's triggered, the noose will go out of place, and this will twitch up like that, and the noose will tighten. It's really easy to get discouraged when trapping like this. About 90% of the time you're going to come up empty-handed. But this kind of trapping is becoming kind of a dying art form. That's how our ancestors used to trap. And yeah, so I'm going to block this side up. It sees the fish right here, the fish head, and it'll pull on this notch, and probably, if it's a possum, it'll probably go in and just try to bite at this. If it's a raccoon, it might try to pull at it, but either way it's going to get trapped because this noose is going to tighten right when this notch is pushed out of place. Catches them right there. And so snare trapping takes really steady hands and above all patience. This is a location that I picked to put one of my cage traps. I have it backed up against this huge open field, and I'm sure that coyotes and fox pass through here all the time. I hear coyotes howling in this field at night, and I have here a dead crow as bait. I hung it up by its feet, and I cut into it a little bit, put some of its guts on the outside of the cage to lure them in more with the smell. And yeah, I love trapping with cage traps and live traps because if I catch something like a bobcat or a badger, I can let it go. And those species aren't doing too well here. So yeah, I want to see those species thrive. But there's plenty of fox, plenty of coyotes, and I'm just hoping that one steps into this trap. That would be amazing. It looks like I got something in one of my traps. I'm gonna go take a closer look. Yeah, it looks like a big possum. Wow. I didn't expect this, really. He got snared. This is the first animal that I've ever caught in a snare trap. He couldn't resist that fish. Wow. Alright. I think I'm gonna skin him up soon and cook him up. Man, this is a huge possum. Look at this guy. Alright, well right now before I put it on the skinning rack, what I do is I cut off the tail and I cut off the hands just to get that out of the way. And I'm going to use this later for fox and coyote bait. I love this. whatever I don't use, like the guts or the tail or the feet or the hands, they'll all be going towards coyote bait. Alright, so what I have done here is I just hung it upside down and I put like kind of 2 nooses around its feet. It just holds it up in place, and I like working like this. You can skin animals lots of different ways, so this is my favorite method. So the first thing I'll do right now is I'm just gonna cut around its feet down to its butthole, and then I will start peeling this coat off. And I like this knife because it's really small and sharp. It's a really good skinning knife. Cut around it here. Cut around it on both feet. And then right now I'm just gonna make a cut right here on its leg, just down to behind its anus. Biggest possum I've ever seen, really. I'll make another cut right here between its legs. And after I'm done with that, it gets really easy. Alright, it just peels down. Man, there's so much fat. Which is really good in the winter time because fat keeps you warm. It's just gutted out, and I eat every bit of it. I eat the heart, the liver, anything that's edible I eat. I don't like to waste anything. But yeah, just from here, all that I'm going to be doing, peeling it down. And just cut along the way. Cut the head off. Use the brain for tanning. Yeah, this possum's going to taste really good. Hopefully. I think to make things more interesting, I'm going to add some natural edibles that I find around here.
In the wintertime, sometimes it's hard to find wild edibles and greens, but all along here I'm seeing onion grass. It grows in tall, thin strands, and it grows in clumps. So yeah, I think I'm gonna dig it up and show you a close-up of it. So here's a close-up of the onion grass. It has little bulbs under here. These are just little onions. And yeah, this is going to be going in the stew.
Out of respect for the animal, right now, I'm going to wipe a little line of blood across my face. It's to signify gratitude and my respect for this possum. It had to give up its life so that I could prolong my own life. And it's really meaningful to me to say thank you.
Primitive people had such a close connection with their food source. I'm used to eating out of packaged containers from the grocery, but I'm not seeing where the food comes from when I do that. And it feels really good to know that this meal came from the land around me.
It's a beautiful moon.
The first thing I do in an average day is wake up in the morning and check all my traps. Unfortunately, I didn't catch anything in my cage traps during my entire stay on the land, but that's part of trapping. When I'm not trying to hunt, I'm doing chores like cutting wood. I gather firewood every day for cooking and staying warm in the night. This job can get a little mundane sometimes, but improvising with what's around me keeps everything interesting. My least favorite chore would be doing laundry and taking baths in the creek. I only took 3 baths my entire stay here, and the temperatures on this day were probably just above freezing. When the sun starts to go down, I try my hand at hunting fox and coyote.
So before I go out to my hunting stand, I always smoke my clothing to hide the human scent. And this is a lure. They might see this from a faraway distance and they'll come in towards it. And I also have a predator call that acts as a distress signal, and it is supposed to represent, they're supposed to sound like a dying rabbit. So what I have here is, it's supposed to sound like a rabbit dying. It's a distress call, and it's supposed to lure in fox and coyote and any kind of predator. And so I have to keep in mind that a rabbit's lungs are way smaller than mine, and I can't just like blow on this. I need to blow on it in short spurts, and I change it up by moving my hand around. And so yeah, I'll give it a whirl.
On the last weeks of possum, raccoon, and fox season, My dad dropped off my foothold traps so I could get the most out of my license before the season ended.
These foothold traps aren't traps that I built myself, but they still take lots of skill to trap with them. And I'm just gonna walk along this creek and try to find a location to set this one. I picked out this spot right here because I saw lots of raccoon tracks along the creek over here, and it just seems like a pretty good location. So what I'm gonna do now is called a cubby dirt hole set. We're gonna do that. All right, so I have my walls built up, and this prevents the animal from working the trap from this angle or this angle, so they have to walk right through here. And now I'm gonna dig the hole to put my foothold in. Initially, I wasn't planning on using these kinds of traps, but the neighbors had concerns about their pets or dogs and cats getting into my snares. And so these traps are live traps, so if they step in it, I can let them out when I get to them in the morning. But they're very humane, and they're rubber padded, so it's just not metal, it's rubber right here. And when I set it, I just put the dog right here under this pan that lifts up like that, and yeah, I can just put my hand in it and it does not hurt. So I like them because if I caught a bobcat or a dog or a cat, I just put a release snare around them and let them go. Someday I hope to gain the skills, the knowledge to make my own metal traps. But right now I'm just going to put this here in this hole and dig it out a little bit more. Oh, it seems pretty good. And you have to keep in mind that if it gets below freezing, the ground will freeze. And this trap will stay open and it won't trigger unless you put peat moss around it. So I have a bag of peat moss here. I put a little bit underneath it and over it, and that helps. Put a little bit under right here. Then I stake this in. Cover this part up. And I also like to put cloth over it. Yeah. I have this cloth that I put over the pan. So when an animal steps on it, it doesn't seem suspicious. It seems really natural. And you have to make sure that the trap has no movement at all, or a fox will never walk on it. I also put all my traps in boiling water and I mix them around with black walnut, and that takes away the metal scent. If a coyote came up to this and smelled the trap right here, it would be really smart and it would know not to step on it. So you have to think about that ahead of time, and you have to think about the trap freezing. I'm just going to put this all around here. I'm going to put some dirt on this side. And I always handle the trap with gloves because I don't want to get my human scent around the set. I'm just gonna put some leaves around it, to the top of it. And now it's in the ground and it's pretty hidden. That seems pretty good. I'm just gonna put leaves all around this spot right here. And now I'm gonna take my bait out, and the bait goes back in this corner right here. I just have some fish. There's not a lot of it left, but this is what I have left right here. Just putting that fish right there. And I also like to put something shiny back there. Animals get curious when they see shiny objects, especially raccoons. So you can use CDs. I've heard of other people using just different kinds of metal, but I'm just going to use this tin can. It's pretty shiny. And I'm just going to put it right there. An animal will see that from across this creek and they might get curious about that. So to avoid an animal working the trap from like walking over and reaching its mouth down here, its paw, I'm going to put some sticks along here, right over it. That seems pretty good right there. And that's a set. So I'm going to move on to the next one. I have 5 more of these I'm going to set out. Up close, get right up there. Last day of raccoon season, so I brought out all my footholds. And yeah, really decent size, big male coon. I'm gonna cook them up, turn them into some clothing, make a hat or something out of it. Thank you.
In addition to the raccoon, I also trapped 3 possum before the season came to an end. I didn't have as much success as I thought I'd have, but to be a good hunter and trapper, you need to be a patient person. You can't get discouraged when things don't go your way.
Alright, I've been out here for my 50 days and I'm packing everything up, and I'm just going to be reinforcing these walls and make this thing sturdier because the landowner wanted to keep this structure here. I was going to tear it down and leave no trace at all, but he thought he could get some use out of it. What lessons have I learned from going back to basic living and trying to live off the land without modern conveniences or comforts? I've learned that nature is a very powerful thing. She can be beautiful and sweet sometimes, but she can also be cold and ugly and unforgiving. You always have to be prepared for the worst and adapt to her various moods.
This has been an adventure for me, but every good adventure has to end somewhere.